Italy beaten. Their worst nightmares have come true. The unthinkable has happened. The first former winners to miss out on 3 World Cups in a row. Once again, one of the globe's great football nations will not be at the finals. Gattuso and Italy are beaten. The contrast in emotions could not be more stark. Donnarumma could not perform the heroics that he did at Euro 2020. This time Italy lose on penalties. Incredible scenes.
Imagine training your entire life, sacrificing everything for one chance to stand on the biggest stage in football history. And then, it's gone. Just like that, 34 years old, tears streaming down his face, on his knees, his last chance, gone in the 88th minute. He will never play at the World Cup again. The 2026 World Cup is about to be the biggest tournament in football history. 48 teams, 3 countries, and the most stacked squad we have ever seen. But today, we are not talking about who is going. We are talking about the world-class superstar who won't be there. And some of these names will shock you. Before we get into the list, I want you to understand just how brutal this situation is. FIFA expanded the World Cup to 48 teams, especially so more of the world's best players could compete. And yet, some of the biggest names in global football are still sitting at home watching on TV, just like us. We have got a legendary striker who cried on the pitch, knowing this was his last shot. We have got an entire country, one that's produced some of the most talented players in Europe, missing the World Cup for the 3rd time in a row. And we have got a Champions League hero who won't even get to wear his national color in North America. Stay until the end because the number 1 name on this list might be the most heartbreaking story in international football this decade. Let's start at number 11. A player who Liverpool supporters are all too familiar with, Dominic Szoboszlai, one of the top midfielders in the Premier League with exceptional technical skills and physical dominance. However, Hungary, they put it in bottle. They were 1 point away from the playoffs, leading against Ireland with minutes to go, and then Troy Parrott scored twice. In the final stretch, Szoboszlai had given everything and it wasn't enough. After scoring 12 goals in 55 international games, he has to wait until 2030. At number 10, we have Jan Oblak, one of the most consistent goalkeepers in La Liga history. Jan Oblak, Slovenia had talents. They had Benjamin Sesko up front, Oblak at the back, and they still couldn't get out of their qualifying group. A winless qualifying campaign means Slovenia didn't stand much of a chance of making it to the first World Cup since 2010. Slovenia's absence this summer means one of the finest goalkeepers of his generation, Jan Oblak, may go his entire career without ever playing on the biggest stage of football. For a goalkeeper of this caliber to never appear at a World Cup, that's a crime against football. At number 9, we have Ademola Lookman, 2024 African Footballer of the Year, Europa League hero, one of the most dangerous attackers on the planet. Ademola Lookman not going to the World Cup. Nigeria had the squad, they had the talent, but they lost their playoff to the Democratic Republic of Congo and crashed out. Lookman's World Cup dream delayed again. At number 8, Benjamin Sesko. At just 22 years old, Sesko is already one of the most coveted strikers in Europe. Pace, power, technique, he has everything. But Slovenia's group was brutal and they fell short. Sesko will have to wait for his World Cup moment. The good news, he is young enough that 2030 could be his tournament. At number 7, we have Brian Mbeumo. Mbeumo's side were given a lifeline despite finishing second in their qualifying group. As one of the 4 best performing runners-up, It progressed into the playoffs round, but was beaten in its semis. DR Congo subsequently went on to beat Nigeria on penalties in the final and qualifying for the World Cup via the Inter-Confederation playoffs. At number 6, we have Real Madrid midfielder Eduardo Camavinga. Camavinga will not be present, but France is undoubtedly going to the World Cup, possibly to win it all. The Real Madrid midfielder is one of the world's most talented players when at his best, but like many of his clubmates, has struggled to discover his best form this season. Camavinga's rejection from the France national team may finally convince him to leave Real Madrid for fresh opportunities. At number 5, the entire Italian squad, Donnarumma, Tolani, Bastoni, De Marco, Calafiori. Italy 3 consecutive World Cups miss. The country that has won this tournament 4 times. The country of Maldini, Pirlo, Totti, Buffon. Italy is not going to the World Cup in 2026 and the players paying the price. Donnarumma, one of the best goalkeepers alive. Sandro Tonali, a midfield general. Alessandro Bastoni, Federico De Marco, Riccardo Calafiori, a defensive unit that should be the backbone of a World Cup squad. None of them will be there. Italy's failure isn't just a football story. It's a national tragedy. And this player who did everything right at club level are the ones who suffer for it. At number 4, Lewandowski. 2026 offered Robert Lewandowski his final World Cup opportunity, having only featured at one tournament previously, the most recent edition in Qatar. The Barcelona striker, who will be 38 in August, knew that this qualification campaign would be his last, but for the renowned Poland international, the outcome was heartbreaking. Lewandowski, another participant in the European playoffs, scored in a comeback victory over Albania in the semi-finals but failed to score as Poland lost to Sweden 3-2 in the championship game. A sickening blow for Lewandowski in World Cup again. This was his last chance and a slip away in 2 minutes. And number 3, Victor Osimhen. Same country, same story, but this one stings even more. Victor Osimhen, the man Napoli fans still worship. The striker clubs were paying 100 million euros for. He left Europe for Galatasaray, scored goals for fun, and then watched Nigerian collapse in qualifying. The Super Eagles had 2 of Africa's best attackers, Osimhen and Lookman, and still couldn't qualify. Let that sink in. And number 2, Donnarumma. Donnarumma deserves his own spotlight. This man has been one of the best goalkeepers in the world since he was a teenager. PSG built their defensive structure around him, and yet he has never played a single minute at a World Cup, not in 2018, not in 2022, not in 2026. 3 chances, 3 devastating failures by his national team. He is 27 years old. 2030 might be his last realistic shot, and the pressure on Italy to finally fix their qualifying problems has never been higher. And then there's him, Kvaratskhelia. Now, yes, one that genuinely hurts. Kvaratskhelia, the PSG winger who helped his club win the Champions League in 2025 and in 2026 back-to-back. Arguably one of the top 5 attackers in the world football right now. Georgia, his nation, has never qualified for the World Cup, and despite their most golden generation of players, they fell short again, finishing behind Spain and Turkey in qualifying. Imagine winning the Champions League in May and watching the World Cup on TV in June. That's Kvaratskhelia reality. It hurts. What if all of these players could form one team? Donnarumma in goal, Bastoni and Calafiori at the back, Szoboszlai in the midfield, Kvaratskhelia on the wing, Osimhen and Lewandowski up front. That team will be genuine contender for the trophy. Think about that. If this video hits different for you, especially the Lewandowski moment, smash the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more football fans who care about stories like this. And drop a comment. Which player's absence hurts you the most? My answer is in the pinned comment. Subscribe if you are new. We cover football like this every week, not just the highlights, the stories behind the game. Now, why these legends are staying home? The World Cup itself is going to be absolutely electric. 48 teams, new favorites, dark horses, and maybe, just maybe, one of the biggest upsets in tournament history.